Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest in this segment is Jeremy Stepak, is that correct?
That's right.
He is the CFO of Green Tank Technologies. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And tell me, what does Green Tank Technologies do?
Yeah, so Green Tank at its core is we design, develop, and manufacture high-quality premium vaporization hardware for the cannabis space.
Did you bring any samples?
No.
Damn.
But I knew that was going to come up, absolutely. And we talked about it, but no, not on this segment.
I guess we're just a little shy of October 17th, so it's probably a good idea that you didn't. Plus, I tend to become much less conversational after I imbibe.
Well, I can't speak to that. It depends on whatever you're using, but we don't touch the plant. We just make the hardware.
Cool. So you did a $4.3 million seed round back in March.
Yep.
And you have a sister company, We Connect, spelled very cleverly, Cannect.
Yep.
And so what is the nature of, Casa Verde, that's Snoop Dogg's operation.
It is.
I was up with Snoop Dogg in Smiths Falls this past weekend. That's great. And wow, okay, so you've got a real business developing here. I can tell just by the little Coles notes here.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are the big catalysts that are going to happen in 12, 24 months that launch your company into the stratosphere and take your investors with you?
Nice and ambitious. Well, it's a good little story we've built up. We've been really proud of the company so far. I think the next 12 to 24, you know the landscape. You see how quickly it's changing. It's changing every day. So for us, we've been live for 2 years almost.
Okay.
It's a young company, but founded in 2016. Private and growing. We're working with over 100 brands in the US today. I think the biggest catalyst will be what happens obviously south of the border, state by state, as different states turn on rec. And then, no surprise, what's going to happen here come October and then 12 months from October. For our business, the big thing will be when vapes go live, right? So vapes don't go live right away. First phase of recreational happens in October with flower and pre-rolled joints.
Sure.
And other items. But phase two, with concentrates, and when vapes roll out live, that's going to be a big catalyst for us.
How'd you get Casa Verde involved?
It just sort of, the way the power of the network, the power of the story. The guys went out, so I've only been with the company for just over 3 months. The company was founded by two brothers, CEO and COO. And the company was self-funded, doing really, really well. Went out for about $500,000 of growth capital, and the story was so well received on the street that it just started making its way to the right people. So had some notable investors that are cannabis investors in Toronto and then in Canada. Then Green Acre Capital stepped up. I'm sure you know them.
Sure do.
And then it, through there it extended and found its way to the guys in California, and they just love the story. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so then what are the big things that are going to happen in your timeline to really launch the thing?
Yeah, so right now, like I said, it's we raised the seed funding. We've barely touched it, which is really fortunate. Even before I came on board, the guys were really prudent about managing the capital, but also growing the business.
Right.
17 was a great year. 18 is going to look to double that. So it's growing healthy.
Right.
But with everything we're seeing, honestly, Jim, in product innovation, where we have to be to power our LP brand partners and turn on their projects, we need to keep an eye towards growth.
Right.
So we'll look to raise again, but right now the business is really managing in a healthy state.
So just to be devil's advocate,
Sure.
and because you are sort of indirectly family related, kind of, I do tend to beat up on the near and dear more because I like to challenge them. But so, is this a case where if the government never decides to legalize vapes, that you don't have a business, or are you going to use the capital you've got to diversify and de-risk the whole strategy thereby? Or are you just going to focus on vapes and count on the fact that the government will at some point legalize vapes?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Vapes are a huge part of the market, right? So we don't foresee it, but you always have to play devil's advocate and you have to be prudent. We're live right now with, like I said, over 100 brands in the US, in the 9 rec states that are in the US. So our core business is in the United States today. Okay. And a lot of people will ask us, are you going to be a global business? Can you go here? Can you go there? The beauty of what we do, we don't touch the plant, and the hardware is really usable in any market where cannabis is taking hold, right? So it can be used medicinally. The big use is recreational, and as the states grows, we'll grow with it. We don't foresee Canada not turning it on, but you're right, we have to keep an eye on that, and so if that doesn't happen, we go for the low-hanging fruit, which is in the US, and we're going to keep an eye on other markets.
I just noticed that somebody put a list of questions in front of me here, and I'm wondering where they came from. Is that somebody new here? I don't do lists of questions.
They came from me. I slid them across the desk
really?
when you weren't looking.
Okay, that's hilarious. I'm like, Oh, who are these questions for? Oh, they look like questions that I'm supposed to ask. That'll never happen. Anyways, okay, so We Connect, what's the relationship there?
Yeah, it's a sister company, 100% owned by the Topco. It's a media platform, basically. So, as the company was forming up, as you can imagine, young company getting a great product into the market, a big part of our business is trade shows. So we're out in the market telling people about the product and about the story, and the more we get into the market, we notice there's a bit of a gap. There's a gap for a company that can connect, basically on a business-to-business level. There's a big demand to know who's out there and who's doing what, but there's no one platform that synthesizes it all, puts it all in one place, really kind of brings everybody together. So We Connect was designed to be sort of the, I don't want to say the LinkedIn of, but as a platform to really bring together, the cannabis industry on more of a B2B side.
Oh, that's interesting. And so is that a subscription-based model?
Today it's free.
Okay.
The view, as you would imagine with any media company, get out there, build the name, let people know, get awareness going. The reception to it's been great. I think there's over 1,200 active users today.
Right.
Like the user base is bigger, but just actively engaged users who are really on the platform. But the anecdote, when we go out to these shows and you talk to the user base, the anecdotal reception has been like just tremendous, right?
Okay.
And we've got everybody on there from big LPs to small dispensaries, right? It's a whole spectrum.
So what do the economics of the vape business typically look like, and how do you differentiate yourself within that matrix?
Yeah, so I mean, there is now more competition in it than there was even 2 years ago, right? There's only, I think, a couple companies that are out there really putting out a premium quality product, and we'd like to count ourselves in that category. There is also a lot of sort of knockoff, manufactured in Asia with not the emphasis on quality control that we put, right? So there's healthy margins on the business. They're not crazy. You have to keep an eye on it. We manufacture in Asia. There's currency. There's a few different variables, but because the demand has been strong, because particularly in the U.S. and we've been lucky that way. We're able to manage the business and get some foresight into it. But to run the business like any other young company, you keep an eye on healthy gross margin and you keep an eye on OpEx as you grow.
Okay, so what was your last financial statement like in terms of profit?
No, I can't do that one.
No?
No, I keep those ones close to the chest.
Oh, okay, so you're not a public company yet?
No, we're private.
Oh,
yeah.
A private company. Yeah. Well, that's really interesting.
I was like, I should definitely share that, but no, that's the beauty of being on the private side in cannabis.
I'm looking at the information here and I'm like, oh, so this is an operating company. Why aren't there financials in front of you? But that makes sense. You're a private company. Yeah. Okay, so are you going public?
Can't tell you how many times people have asked me that, and we've definitely had the overtures, of course. You see what's happening in the space. I wouldn't rule it out of the plan, for sure, like sort of the more mid to long-term plan, but it's right now, I think we do what our investors like to hear we do, which is we're private, we're going to stay that way just so that we can focus on building the business really, really well.
Are you making money?
We are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to share too much, but we're revenuing. There's good cash flow, but again, young company, you got to balance cash flow positivity with the design and the desires for growth. So, we look at both lenses, but the company's in a really good spot.
Then you've got what looks like to me a differentiated core technology. In fact, it's called True Taste's Ceramic Core Technology, and I'm judging, and this is my willing opportunity to run gladly to humiliation, which is a philosophical concept I support. True Taste Ceramic Core Technology sounds like the whole idea with a great vape is not to burn the oil, but to warm it gently until it vaporizes without destroying any of the terpene, THC profile bits and pieces.
So if this job doesn't work out, you'll come work on our product team, which is fine. You know more than most.
Okay.
The basics of what you're saying is exactly what the company was built on.
Okay.
The company actually was founded. So, like I said, two brothers. The CEO is our hardware guru originally. He comes from 6 years of e-cigarette technology experience. So he actually founded the company on the moment of being. He was at a wedding in Aspen in Colorado, and Colorado had just gone live with rec, and he saw all these boomers on the dance floor vaping, but they're vaping with poor, sort of outdated e-cigarette technology. They're trying to vape cannabis oil. It's leaking. It's a bad experience. Burnt oil, all that, right? So that's exactly what I think we bring to the table. That's how the company got started. That was the genesis of it, right?
Well, it's interesting. So the analog for this company, and perhaps the analog for the growth trajectory, would be Namaste Vapes, or Namaste Technologies now, who started off as exclusively as actually a vendor of vapes online and not a manufacturer of vapes. So, I mean, if we were to look at the sort of progress of that company and where you guys are at now, it looks like a pretty likely proposition.
Yeah, I mean, we know the Namaste guys well, have a relationship with them.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they're great. I mean,
Do you sell your vapes on their platform?
We think we do have one device on their platform, yeah, we do. But our model is B2B, so the core of what we do is working with brands. Now in the US, we're turning on LP supply agreements in Canada as well.
For preloaded vapes.
Yeah, exactly, for rec. But the core of what we do is powering our brand partners' brands on our hardware. Right?
Interesting. So are you committed philosophically as a company to remain divorced from touching the plant?
I mean, listen, this industry changes all the time. You wouldn't commit to anything. It's a changing landscape. Right. But I think in the short to midterm, we're not married to being, divorced from the plant or not plant touching. But we want to focus on what we do best, right?
Well, there are so many puns in that last
I know. As I was saying them,
like,
I'm like, oh, he's going to jump all over this.
Married to being divorced. Married. Wow. Never mind. Anyways, it sounds like a really interesting idea. I wish that somebody had sent me an invitation to the seed investment round, because I would have participated just based on this conversation.
Well, the good news for you is that the Series A, it's on its way.
Oh.
Like I said, with the capital is being managed well, but because of the opportunity in the industry, because of the product innovation pipeline that we are staring at, that is there's just some things that are coming out that are going to be great because of the growth prospects, because of the capital in the space as well. It's a good time. So we're going to be heading out to do our Series A kind of in the back half of the year, back quarter of the year.
Perfect.
So you will be now on the list of people that we reach out to.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm on the CFO's list.
Exactly. A very, very, very short list.
Okay, awesome. All right, Jeremy. Well, that's a great introduction to the company. Sounds like you guys really have it put together. We're going to follow with interest and wish you the best of luck. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks a lot, man.
That's it.